Hi everyone, this presentation is about our research project. The project topic is the forecast analysis of the sales volume of Tesla cars in China. The group member includes Huanyi Wu, Ruoxiao Hu, and Jinglin Chen. First of all, I would like to introduce the background. From the global perspectives, there are two main problems. One is the contradiction between the automobile industry and the increasingly scarce oil resource, and the other problem is environmental pollution. How to solve it? New energy vehicles seems to be a solution. When we're looking at the Chinese market, it's easy to find that the Chinese government attaches great importance to the development of new energy vehicle. From treating new energy vehicle development as a main goal in 2009, and then to the various subsidies for the purchase of new energy vehicle in 2015. Under the strategy and policy of the Chinese government, many traditional Chinese automobile manufacturers have entered the new energy vehicle industry. This table comes from TF Securities 2020 Tesla sales survey report in various countries. It's easy to find that China has gradually become the country with the largest demand for new energy vehicles outside the United States. Therefore, there are lots of opportunities and challenges in terms of Tesla. Tesla is the largest electrical vehicle company in the United States and the earlier manufacturer of automobile vehicle. Tesla announced its ambitions when it opened a factory in Shanghai, China in 2018. Why we predict sales volume? The reason is because the prediction of sales is helpful for Tesla. Here we can use a very simple formula to evaluate how importance of sales prediction in terms of Tesla. That is, profit equal to sales minus total cost. Here we can regard the sales forecast as a sales target. When the given sales target is multiplied by the market price and minus the measurable total cost, the predicted profit can be obtained. If the predicted profit result is lost, then it's necessary for Tesla to adopt some strategy of controlling expense and reducing costs. Even if the profit forecast is positive, Tesla can also adjust its business strategy based on the result of profit. Sales prediction is very important, but how to predict sales? In our project, basically we use two methodology. One is time series method and the other one is neural network prediction model. The advantage of the time series is the forecasting model is relatively simple, does not involve too many external factors, and the forecasting cost is low. But the integrity of the previous data preservation is very important. Is there any internal change in the data, the accuracy may be reduced. But for the neural network prediction model, it can better solve complex non-linear relationship and is also effective for data with the relatively large fluctuation range. But a large number of samples are required for repeat comparison, which take a very long time. How to use these two methods to predict sales? The rest of the information will introduced by my teammate Jinglin, and welcome to Jing.
Friends, I need to introduce some methods and introductions from us. And I'm here tonight to talk about the Tesla sales situations and talk about how the Tesla succeeds in Chinese market. The Tesla is the first new energy vehicle company in the world. Its sales has been paid close attention to all the time. It is well known that the Chinese market is the largest market in the world, and each company seeks to maximize the profits in the Chinese market. So how the Tesla will succeed in the Chinese market and how it increase its sales. In 2014, the first batch of the 8 Tesla cars were delivered to Chinese users. The price is as high as the 1 million Chinese yuan, and it is nearly 100,000 in the United States. This price is too high and is comparable to flagship model of the luxury car brands such as the Mercedes-Benz, the Audi, and the BMW. The Tesla will build his product into the high-end vehicle brand to enter the vehicle market in a high profile and open up the market's popularity. In China at that time, if the people only import Tesla, it was the status of the symbol. After a few years, in 2019, the Tesla has been well known all around the world, and a large number of the consumers are willing to buy the Tesla, but its price is still to keep on the high level. The Tesla to promote the maximum profit and to decide to set up the factory in China to open the largest vehicle markets on the world. At that time, the Chinese government has pushed the policy to the new energy vehicle. And the Tesla set up the factory that's manufactured by Shanghai factory, and also its product will export to the EU because of the factory will improve the manufacturing effort. And because of the professional land use conditions and the investment directly of the factory, the improvement of the supply chains and the related chips of the labor. The putting into the production in China will help Tesla to further reduce the production cost. The low-cost attribute of the putting electric vehicle into the production in China. On the other hand, in China's relative complete supply chain system, the China also has the natural advantage in terms of the battery materials, such as the world's third largest NEMAT reserves, the world's fourth largest NEMAT monopolist too, and so on. The sales of the Model 3 has increased rapidly with the development effective of Shanghai factory. The Tesla released another Model Y to the market. This measure promotes the increase of the sales. And those four factories will help the Tesla increase their sales in the Chinese market. Therefore, whether the Tesla can become the highest selling electrical car in the Chinese market, and the Tesla sales in the Chinese market has become the focus of the industry researchers. According to the China Passenger Cars Association's general data, the Tesla has delivered to the market on a large scale in 2020 and 2021. Furthermore, we also obtained the first quarter sales data in 2021 from Tesla, and we also reviewed the customer feedback to add a factor that might be impact the sales in the future. And the last part, I will pass to the Ruoxiao to introduce the methods of how we predict the Tesla sales.
Okay. Well, thank you for the Huanyi and Jinglin for the introduction of the background and the preliminary model of the Inter project. Next, I will analyze the specific factors that affect Tesla sales in China. Regarding the sales value forecast in the new energy vehicle market, many scholars and market research institutions attach great importance to the forecast research of the vehicle parts. New energy vehicle manufacturers will also independently estimate the sales value due to their strategy decision support. Since Tesla China has just entered in the Chinese market, we analyze the factors that affect sales in two parts, which are the internal and external. Well, for the internal factors that affect the Tesla sales in China are the various changes and the compatibilities within the companies that affect the sales value. For example, first, the selling price of the Tesla's cars in China is an important factor restricting consumer consumption. According to the demand theory of the economies, the quantity demand decrease when the price of the commodity rise. And secondly, the production capacity of the Tesla China factories. The complementary products of the car undoubtedly directly affect the production capacity of the car. Tesla's new energy vehicle produced in China mainly requires the chips and batteries. For the third reason is current financial level and liabilities. From a company's financial point of view, only the continuous growth of the net assets can provide protection for the company's liabilities, thereby helping to meet the needs of the company's future operation development. On the other hand, the external factors that affect Tesla sales in China can be summarized into 4 points. First, the market situation of the new energy vehicle industry. Second, customer satisfaction evaluation. Third, the impact of the government policies on the new energy vehicle industry. Fourth, the resident income. Let me just specify for each factors. For the first one, in China, new energy vehicle market, there are a large number of replacement products, which affects the sales value of the Tesla China to a certain extent. For the third reason, the increase in customer satisfaction can increase the number of the sales of the Tesla cars. According to the statistics, Tesla China's appearance, power, handling, comfort, space, configuration, interior, and safety performance are all factors that affect consumer satisfaction. Although some market behaviors of the Tesla China or other competitors may affect the satisfaction score, satisfaction surveys based on the mass consumers can indeed reflect the acceptance of the car, which indirectly affects the sales value of the Tesla China. To be more precise, when the evaluation is good and the sales value of the model will increase and the vice versa. So the third reason is the impact of the government policies. China has formulated a tax reduction and exception system for the new energy vehicle car, which plays a role in guiding and stimulating consumers to a certain extent. Studies have shown that preferential energy tax policy can promote consumers' desire to purchase new energy vehicle. For the next reason is the resident income. With the rapid development of the China's economy, the personal income level has also increased. In other words, the personal consumption structure has also been improved to a certain extent. Judging from the current situation, although the development of the Tesla or like the automobile industry in China is rapid, it is not a necessary of life after all. Furthermore, the definition of the car in China households is a durable consumer product, which means that its renewal requires a very long life cycle. The ability to buy a car has a lot to do with the family income, and an increase in income is one of the direct reasons why people buy a new energy cars. Okay, next we will introduce two models to predict sales. First is to build an ANFIS network based on the MATLAB, and the second is to make the ARIMA model through the Python. Well, now we use the ANFIS to make the prediction. First, I need to introduce the structure of the ANFIS network. As we see in the first step, we need to assume two inputs. First, x and y, and on the output, f. Also, we need to follow these two rules as shown in these slides, these two formula. In the first layer, every node I in this layer is an adaptive node which represents a conditional variable. This is the membership grade of the phrase seat and is specific the degree to which the given input x or y satisfies the quantitates. Typically, the membership function for phrase seat can be any parameters membership function, such as a triangle, Gaussian, or general BAM functions. Parameters in this layer are referred to the antecedence parameters. In the second layer, every node I in this layer is a fixed node, whose output is a product of all the incoming signals. Each node output represents the firing stress of the row. And let's say the third layer, every node in this layer is a fixed node, labeled n. The ith node calculates the ratio of the ith rows fanning stress to the sum of all rows of fanning stresses. In the fourth layer, every node I in this layer is an consequence parameters, adaptive node with a node function which generated given by the layer combination of the input features. Let's say the last layer, the fifth layer. The single node in this layer is a fixed node which computes the overall output as a summarize of the incoming signals. Well, let's do the experiment process. In this process of the data calculation, it is found that small sample data cannot predict the future sales data well. Because the ANFIS network is used in this data sample, the test data is too different from the previous data, which leads to the estimate existing the allowable error range. ANFIS required the 18% of the training set data and 20% of the test data in the segmentation. In this data sample, there are only 27 data sequences, resulting in only 22 training set data. Specifically, first, the input variables are selected according to the application of principal components analysis and partial least squares regression analysis. Secondly, enter the code in the MATLAB and load the historical sales data from the January 2019 to the March 2021 and to test or predict the future sales in the April and May of the 2021. At the same time, enter the ANFIS edit in the MATLAB Command 9 to open the narrow phrase design dialog box. Then, in the load data dialog box, select the tab as training and load the testing data and check the data in turn. After that, compare the obtained data with the actual data we already collected. In the process of the model fitting, it is found that there is a large error between the simulate predict value and the actual value. So, through the linear regression analysis, the results R can be obtained from the dataset. R is a linear correlation coefficient, which is an important indicator to measure the degree of layer correlation between the variables. The greater the absolute value of the R, the smaller the arrow, and the closer to the absolute value of the R is to the 0, the great, which means the greater of the arrow. So we can see from this figure, due to the R value is quite lower, the arrow will be greater than the normal value, which means that its accuracy cannot be guaranteed. In addition, considering that the data sample is limited, is quite small, so this study will be changed to the main site and use the ARIMA model to make the Tesla future sales forecasting in China. So I will pass to Jinglin, who will introduce more about the ARIMA. Thank you.
Thanks Ruoxiao Hu to introduce the ANFIS model. I'm going to talk about the ARIMA model. Before we discuss this model, we need to clarify what is ARIMA model. It divides by three parts. It's two parts. The first is the auto-regression model. The auto-regressive model explains the relationships between the current and the past values and focus the variable's future using the historical time evidence. And the formulas is the general P or the auto-regressive model. And its name a pure AR phrase if the random disturbance term is white noise, and is written as this formula. The auto-regressive model must first determine an order P, which means that the actual value is predicted using the several historical values. The auto-regressive model has many limitations. The main results are as follows. The first is the auto-regressive model is predicted by its own data. The data in the time series must be stationary. The first is autoregressions can only be used to focus the events that are related to itself. The second is the moving arrangement model. In the autoregressive functions, the moving averages model relies on the error terms. The random variations in estimations can be easily eliminated. So the ARIMA combines those two models. The difference of the integrated moving averages autoregressive model, also known as the mixed moving averages autoregressive model. It is one of the time series estimations and regressions techniques. The ARIMA stands for the autoregressive, with P denoting the number of the autoregressive terms, the MA denoting the moving average, the Q denoting the number of the moving averages terms, and the D denoting the number of the difference needed to make the sequence stationary. About the fact that the word difference does not appear in ARIMA, it is an important step. The ARIMA model is the ARIMA model explanations. The ARIMA model can be written as the follows, like the formula. The autocorrelations is the foundation of the ARIMA model. The time series is a makeup of the set averages, the seasonal variations, and the random variables in general. If the random factors of the time series are completely independent and have no relationship at each time point, then it is difficult to model. Fortunately, for the general time series, after excluding the fixed times and the seasonal effects, the time series have the correlations at different time points, and this autocorrelation features is the basis of our time series modeling. And the ARIMA model have the two characteristics. The first is the stationarity. The weakly stationary time series must meet two requirements. The mean functions must be constant, and the covariance function must be applied only to the time difference. The code of the stationarity is making predictions regarding time shifts. Only under this principle, the history data be used to focus the future. Otherwise, predictive features of the history data will have little bearing on future predictions. The other is the strong stationarity. It is the actualist stationarity, requiring the same distributions of the points in time series, which is too rich and difficult to evaluate and use. Therefore, at the purpose of the modeling at the time series, the stationarity test must be carried out, and the test methods include the ADF, the autocorrelations, and the partial autocorrelations of the stationarity series. If it is not stable, the train is removed by the difference until it passes the stationarity test. And the second is the white noise. For the pure random sequence, also known as the white noise sequence, there is no correlations between the values of the sequence, and the sequence is a completely disordered random fraction, which can terminate the analysis of the sequence. The white noise sequence is the stationary sequence with no information to escape. After we introduce the ARIMA model, and we need to use the Python to implement these algorithms. And then next, I will talk about that step of the modeling. The modeling step of the ARIMA model are as the four steps. The first is the stationarity of the time series data is tested, and if it does not pass, the algorithm's distance and the other corresponding transformations are adapted to turn it into the stationary series. After the stationarity detection, the white noise detection is carried out, and when the sequence is not a white noise sequence, the appropriate AI, the model can be selected for fitting. If the error value passes the white noise detection, the fit model can be used to predict the time series model. And the first step we implement with the Python. We will input the data first. And the second step is the test of the original sequence. This step, it has the monotonous increased trend. If it has this increased change, that means it is a non-stationary series. And after that, the autocorrelation confidence is greater than 0 for a long time and does not turn to the 0. That indicates that there is a strong long-term correlation between the sequence. The third is the test of the fourth-order difference sequence. This step is mean to the result of this step. The p-value is less than the significance level, and the original hypothesis is rejected. That indicates that the first-order difference sequence is stationary sequence. For the autocorrelations, the p-value is less than 0.05. The original hypothesis is rejected. That means the first-order difference sequence is not white noise. After we test the first-order sequence and the original test sequence, we need to fit the model. For this fifth step, there is the short-term correlation but turns to the 0. And the second graph it shows the second order transition. And we also need to turn in the parameters. The method of the turning the parameters, we use the AIC and the BIC, and in the better results that we will use. This two step is to turning the parameters by BIC and the AIC. Then fix the model completely, and then we will create the model that we fix for the above that step, and then create a model to summary the report of the model. And we also need to test the model, the results of those graphs to show there's some short-term correlations. After we test the model report is stable. And we use the model to predict the future 3 months data, Tesla sales data. And the next part, I will discuss the model. The ARIMA model, the advantage is simple. This model is simple, with the only endogenous variables and then no exogenous variables required. But this model, the time series data must be stable, or the stable after different transformations. So what is the stable? Stable is the mean. The time is follow the order, like from the January to December. The second is it can only catch the linear relationship and not non-linear ones. It's worth nothing that by using the ARIMA model to focus the time series data, the data must be dependable. Otherwise, the load will be difficult to capture. For example, this one cannot focus with the ARIMA. The stock data cannot be focused with the ARIMA model because this is the unpredictable and often impacted and by the other features. And the next part, I will pass to Ruoxiao Hu to make the conclusions.
Okay, thanks Jinglin for introduce of the ARIMA model. And let's do the conclusion. With the continuous growth of the new energy vehicle brands in China, Tesla China's market competition has become increasingly fierce. Sales forecasts are the basis for the Tesla China's plan. Improving the accuracy of the forecast is of the great strategy significance to the Tesla China. We have established two prediction models to predict the Tesla sales in China. After summarizing the theoretical basis and the prediction method, we found that the ANFIS network model is currently unable to obtain the accuracy prediction. Therefore, the prediction model of the ARIMA network is proposed and based on the historical sales data of the Tesla China. The validation of the model is verified and the final prediction value is obtained. However, this study found that in order to better use the ANFIS natural network model to predict the sales, it is necessary to increase the amount of sample data in the future. Secondly, the recent negative reports or news of the Tesla China have directly affected the sales. Therefore, the issue of the user satisfaction should be the focus of the comprehensive quantitative analysis in the future research. Finally, we would like to thank Dr. Dago for his contribution of our research project. Thank you all, and this is our reference page. And thanks for watching our presentation of the research project. Thank you.